Well, good morning, everybody. We are about to take a little ride on the Big Creek Greenway, the Alpharetta section. So we're gonna, it's a little warm this morning, but we'll see what we can do. It's about 20 miles there and back. So we're gonna get started here. There's actually three sections to the Greenway. One of them is Roswell, then there's Alpharetta, then there's Forsyth. The Alpharetta and the Roswell are connected, with the Forsyth, you got a little break. On your left. So if you're gonna ride this, you gotta pay attention to the signs, because if you don't, you can get turned around. Not that you can get particularly lost, but you might have to backtrack a few times. So always, if you're gonna ride it, there's signs that point to the Greenway. So that's the way you need to go. Like right here, the Greenway points to the left. Because if you go to the right, you go to Roswell. And the left, you go basically towards Cumming, but you stop at the North Alpharetta limit. So that's what we're doing today. We're going from the North Point entry to the Greenway up to the end of it, which is another park. So that's our plan for today, and we're going. The good news about the Greenway is it's this particular one, and the whole thing from Roswell all the way up to Cumming, which is about a 40-mile there and back, is that it is very shaded. So you really don't realize that you're in a highly populated part of North Atlanta, because they've done such a good job of keeping it natural. And you basically follow the creek most of the way. And then there's some interesting sights along the way, and we'll be pointing those out as we go. So it's a pretty flat trail. Right now I'm running in fourth gear on a 5-gear freewheel, and one power boost, which is very little boost. So even with a 65-pound e-bike, it's no problem pedaling on this trail. Few hills, few bridges, few crazy squirrels. Look at this crazy thing. On your left. You do have to pay attention to the runners and walkers, because they have the right of way here. And you gotta yield to them and stay under 15 miles an hour, which is not a big deal here. I mean, you know, unless you really, like on an e-bike, crank up the boost and put it in 7th gear, 8th gear, whatever you've got, you could, you know, do 25 miles an hour. But this is not that kind of place. It's really a nice, peaceful ride, and that's what you need to take it as. Although some of these road bikers blow past me 20 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, whatever they're doing, but that's okay. Everybody's pretty courteous on this trail. Again, there's a lot of shade, so even though it's almost 90 degrees on the asphalt, here it's a lot cooler. You got a few tunnels you can go through, some sharp curves you have to pay attention. Yeah, there's really only one road crossing on this leg of the Greenway, and that's at the very end, although you do have a little jog here and there where you go through kind of parks and stuff and you have to make some turns. Okay, here we go. Coming up on your left. I'm sure she'll come blowing past me here in a bit. But if you have access to this part of the North Atlanta suburbs, this is a great trail for hiking, biking, running, whatever you kind of exercise you want. It gets you out into nature, and it's really nice. You can see that guy ain't doing 15. But I guess if there's nobody on the trail and it's a straightaway, no harm, no foul. Me, I try to just keep a leisurely pace. You know, with an e-bike, you have the choice to get exercise or not. In my case, I try to get some, so I keep the boost level where it's comfortable to pedal, but I still have to pedal, and I'm still getting some resistance. So, you know, get a little exercise along with it. On your left. Of course, none of these people hear me. They've all got on earplugs and everything, so it's, you know, it is kind of dangerous, honestly. I mean, a path like this, but if you walk in front of a bike, any bike, be it an analog or an e-bike, electric bike, you're going to get hurt. So it's best to be able to pay attention to people coming up from behind you.
Is there familiar?
Yeah, a little bit of a hill here, so I'll crank up the boost a little bit. Yeah, I see apartments with like stairs down to the Greenway. I wonder if you get charged extra for that. But there's dogs. A lot of dogs get walked on the trail here. So there's poop stations and things like that. You really want to try to keep it as clean as possible for everyone. So when you talk about speed, if you're careful, you never exceed 15 miles an hour. So, I mean, in my case, there's a couple of hills where if I'm not paying attention, I'll get up, but there are a lot of turns that go to those hills, usually 90 degrees at the bottom of them. So if you're going too fast, you could be in trouble, because these are pretty narrow paths. Although they're nice and paved, you still probably have, you know, single file room, and if somebody's coming the other way, then, well, it could be a problem. Baby strollers, I saw a lady running with her baby stroller the other day. I don't see how they do it. Women are tougher than men, that's for sure. And when you're coming up behind somebody, although a lot of bikers don't do it, you really need to announce yourself so that they don't step in front of you. On your left. Because again, anytime you tangle with a bike and a guy on it, both of you are probably going to get skinned up. So best to avoid it if you can. One of those bridges over Big Creek that you gotta pay attention because there's curves and it's uphill, and you get in trouble if you try to do it too fast. This is about a 20-mile up and back, like 18.8, 19, something like that. So it's a nice ride. Nice morning ride, afternoon ride. Not too long on any bike. And even on an analog bike, it's not too bad because it's really flat, most of it. The only time you really get hills is on a bridge like this. You go over the creek. But again, for people like me that have no knees, there's another problem. You've got to be prepared to change a flat or fix a problem because not a lot of help around here. Morning. I guess I could have offered to stop, but it looked like they had it under control. I carry a full toolkit since weight's not a problem for me. Coming through. You never know what a kid's gonna do. On your left. Just like skiing. Coming up behind somebody, you need to announce yourself, let them know your intention. So talking about e-bikes a little bit, one of the concerns a lot of people have are range. On your left. And so Monday, took this same ride, 20 miles, and I used like 1.5 bars, maybe 2 bars out of 10. So I suspect that I could get well over 50 miles on a battery charge, riding on a flat surface like this with very few hills. Now, at my daily ride, which is very hilly, on your left, I rarely get more than Well, I would not try 45 miles because at 40 miles you're almost at the end of your battery. So a lot depends on basically how much boost you use. On this trail here, I'm not using hardly any boost, and I'm comfortable. I've been talking this whole time, and we've probably gone 3 miles or so. So um, my legs feel it, so I'm getting resistance, but it's not hard. and and again, this is with a very heavy bike. If you were on one of those 15, 20-pound road bikes, this is a very easy trail to ride. And again, you get as much exercise as you want because it's up to you how much boost you use. And there are benches along the way, poop stations along the way, so again, you can rest if you need to. You can pick up after your pooch if you need to. Very, very well maintained, very, very good trail. This is dangerous. All right, so I'm passing somebody and they stopped. So I've got to wait. On your left. Thank you. That was courteous of her. She didn't have to do it. And for those who care, I have a Rad City 5X, which is, I bought it about almost 2 years ago. And it's been a good bike. And there's a lot of work to do on these things. So if you're not mechanically inclined, your local bike shop's the way to, you need to make friends. Because, you gotta kind of know what you're doing on a particular bike, because while they're all made in China, most all of them anyway, and the parts are interchangeable still, especially when it comes to electronics. They're all kind of different a little bit, the way they power the motor and things like that. So I've had to replace brakes and chains and derailleurs over the last 2,500 miles. But all of it's, if you can watch YouTube, you can probably do it. I like to do it. I mean, it gave me an excuse to buy a whole bunch of new tools. It's all metric, of course, so. It is a little warm and humid today, but we're in the middle of summer, so you got to expect that. Beautiful day, though, if you don't mind the heat. Big old fella. This is one of the transitions. You go through a park to get back on the trail. So, but again, it's well marked. Just follow the striped lines in the road, the yellow striped lined road. On your left. Okay. On your right. All right, so when you come here, the Greenway turns right. This is a nice park. Again, just stay on the yellow brick road and it's all good. So I don't think a scooter is an authorized vehicle, but who's going to say anything? So one of the things this trail has, particularly the Forsyth leg, which is the next one up, is they have stops where they talk about the environment, the trees, what kind of trees we have, what kind of plants we have, and so it's interesting. It can be educational as well as fun.
Morning.
Morning. I guess he saw he was on candid camera. Fortunately, you can't tell faces, so I don't have to block anybody out. And we zip by so fast. Again, curvy. I think we got some golf shooters out today, so it's a good day for it. A little hot, but the greens are usually have fans on them. Don't know why they do that. I guess there's a reason. But they use concrete on these. A lot of times, some of the other parts of the trail, they use boardwalks, which can be slick as glass when they're wet. So if you're running skinny tires, you need to be careful with that.
And she chose not to do it.
On your left. about to come to the only road crossing on this section of the trail, I think. Maybe not. Got a little further to go. Coming through another tunnel. It's warm even in the tunnels. There's a baby with an umbrella. That's smart. Morning. I don't think those are legal either, but you know, and there's the rest of the golf course over there to the right. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a nice golf course. And these crazy squirrels, you never know what they're gonna do. And again, they've used concrete for these raised sections, so it's nice. Here's the road crossing. Only one. We're at the end of the trail, so push a button and get the green light, but nobody's coming, so it's blinking anyway. Maybe it saw me. Could be automagic. So we've done about 9 miles.